Welcome to this special Pet Talk all about animal welfare and conservation. I'm Lauren Collier. Coming up, we're going to take a look at some of the incredible animals that could actually disappear if we don't all get involved and do something to help. And you might be surprised to learn how diverse the wildlife is here in Connecticut. Everything from black bears to the many creatures that call Long Island Sound their home. Imagine taking a trip to the Beardsley Zoo in Bridgeport and not being able to see a beautiful tiger pacing back and forth. Sadly, tigers everywhere are in danger of disappearing forever. Since the early 1900s, the tiger's habitat and numbers have been reduced by up to 95%. Poachers continue to go after tigers for their skin and body parts. We're going to find out more now from the Executive Vice President of Born Free USA, Adam Roberts. Welcome. Born Free USA, a national nonprofit animal advocacy organization heavily involved in helping to protect and bring back endangered species such as the tiger. We are so happy to have you here, Adam, because this is such a sad situation. I mean, there used to be about 100,000 roaming around free in the wild, and now just a fraction of that left.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks for having me back and allowing me the opportunity to share this message with your viewers. It's so important to save wildlife in the wild before it's too late. And as you say, at the beginning of the 20th century, so just over 100 years ago, there were about 100,000 tigers left throughout Asia, and now there are fewer than 4,000. And they're in very small pockets of habitat, so the situation really is dangerous.
Oh, and again, it's just so sad. What is happening? I mean, of course, part of it is their habitat, which is being destroyed. But beyond that, the poaching continues. We were talking about that briefly, and also they're used for different medicines. It blows your mind.
Yeah, there really is a number of ways that the tiger is at risk. One of them, as you mentioned, is habitat encroachment, where they have less and less room in order to thrive. But it's also that the population habitat is fragmented, so they're in very separate areas and they can't cross from one area to the other. So their range is diminishing. But then, as you say, there is targeted poaching, where poachers go in and either trap them or shoot them for their skins, which can fetch very high prices on the black market, or their bones, their blood, their organs. Really, every part of the tiger can be used in traditional medicine in Asia or just on the black market. Even tiger bone wine we see on shelves. Fully half the population that remains on the planet is in India, and they're really under assault there because no matter how strong the will of the Indian government is to protect them, the poachers are really coming in and trapping them. In fact, a few years ago, I was in India at a conference where all of the like-minded tiger conservationists got together to talk about strategies, and we were at a tiger reserve, and while we were there, 3 tigers were trapped. And so it happens everywhere, and the situation is critical.
It's so critical. That's why we want our viewers to get involved. We've also had a little bit of luck right here at the Beardsley Zoo because they were able to breed 3 Siberian tigers, which is really quite an accomplishment. We actually got to go in with the tigers, and they were so cute. But the bigger message is the importance of the conservation, which is what you are so involved in with Born Free USA.
Yeah, that's right. Our mission is to keep wildlife in the wild. And so the problem is definitely not breeding tigers. The problem is protecting them in their native habitat and actually making sure that there are viable wild populations left for my children, my someday grandchildren to know about, that it's not just in history books or, quite frankly, in a zoo. So we really want to protect them in the wild.
And really, that goes back to your mission, which is to leave wildlife in the wild.
That's right.
And that's what Born Free USA is so involved in. I guess a lot of our viewers probably recognize the name from Elsa, the lion, and from that wonderful movie, Born Free. So how are you connected to that, Adam?
Well, the founders of the organization, when it first started in England many years ago, were the actor and the actress who portrayed the Adamsons in real life, in the film Born Free. And so, yeah, we have a long history of big cat conservation and that message of keeping wildlife in the wild, because that's really what Elsa's story is about. Not putting Elsa in a zoo, but rehabilitating her in Africa and releasing her back in the wild to live free.
So how can viewers find you, and how can they join the fight to help save the tiger?
Well, the good thing about the work that Born Free USA does is that it's not just advocacy, it's not just lobbying or talking to diplomats. We're actually on the ground in places like India, where we manage a reserve, a protected sanctuary for tigers in need, and then we also have a landscape project, a tiger landscape project that connects through corridors these different pockets of habitat. And so if people support us, we can put that money directly to those 2 projects to protect tigers on the ground in India. So we can really have a targeted approach.
Fantastic, and I want to say thank you for my wonderful little ribbon here. Let's tell everybody what this signifies.
This is just the Born Free Foundation ribbon, and it just symbolizes keeping wildlife in the wild. And when you wear that, everyone will know right away that you're an animal lover, which we all know already. And you can help spread the message that we've got to save those big cats before it's too late.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Adam, and thank you for the work you continue to do.
Well, thanks for helping out.
And as we go to break, it might surprise you to learn that 47% of all turtle species are threatened. Here in Connecticut, we have 12 species of turtles, 7 of which are endangered. So to bring awareness to this issue, the Connecticut Department of Environmental Protection has officially declared 2011 the Year of the Turtle. To find out how you can help, log on to their website. We'll be right back. Welcome back as we continue our animal welfare and conservation special here on Pet Talk. This is Kisra. She's an American kestrel, a falcon that's about the size of a robin. Kestrels are on the threatened list right here in Connecticut, and one of the main reasons is the change in Connecticut's landscape. Let's find out more. Welcome Mary Beth Kaiser, founder of Horizon Wings, located in Ashford, Connecticut. Horizon Wings is a nonprofit wildlife rehabilitation center specializing in birds of prey. And Jeannie Wadsworth, a volunteer with Horizon Wings. So welcome, ladies. So happy to have you both here.
Thank you for having us back.
Yes, we are so thrilled. And I'm going to start with you, Mary Beth, because what a beauty, such a beauty. And I know that kestrels are really endangered here. And part of the reason is we are so lacking in open spaces. And that's where you found them when Connecticut had farmland. And now we don't have as much as we used to. So that's a big issue.
Right. The changing landscape in Connecticut, the loss of our open fields. Connecticut is being reforested. A lot of our farms are turning into, if not shopping malls, and they're turning into housing development. So it doesn't leave this little bird the acreage she needs. She's a cavity dweller. She likes to nest in holes in trees, and it requires about 33 acres per pair of nesting kestrel to really support them. They're a big bug eater. They eat a lot of crickets, grasshoppers, dragonflies. So they need that type of habitat where the grass is, where it's kept mowed down so they can find their prey items.
And I know your mission, of course, is to be able to rehabilitate and then release, but that might not be the case with her.
Kisra cannot go back. She was a window strike. She hit a window, and actually it severed part of her wing when she hit that window. So there are things you can do to prevent that. You can put up decals. There's one decal sold on the internet that looks like a spider web, and birds aren't going to want to fly into spider webs. They're sticky. You can get clear decals. We don't really see them, but they look blue to birds. This little bird sees ultravioletly. So there are different things you can do to help prevent the window strikes like Kisra's. Also, there are kestrel box plans. You can go to our website, horizonwings.org. They have a link on our website to find out how to build these kestrel boxes and where to put them. There are people actually, they have projects here in Connecticut, and they're putting out kestrel boxes, and they're having a good deal of success with them.
That's a great idea.
So hopefully we are bringing this little bird back.
And we can get involved in that because anybody can do that. And I know Jeannie, she is the smallest falcon, and you say she's a senior citizen.
Kisra actually was found 11 years ago as an adult, so she's at least 12 years old, which is kind of on the senior citizen side for this little bird. In the wild, they live probably 5 to 7 years. She has a very unique style of hunting. If you're driving by a field sometime, you may see a bird and it looks like a little helicopter out in the field. She's not actually hovering. It's something called kiting, where she's kind of keeps her head in one spot and she flaps her wings, and she's looking for large insects or small mice in the fields.
And they're just one of the many here in Connecticut that are having problems. Some of them, the least tern, the bald eagle, which is kind of making a comeback, and you even have a bald eagle, which we're going to see the picture in a minute. The purple martin, the horned lark, the short-eared owl, the list goes on and on. One of the little success stories, the bald eagle, you have one right at Horizon Wings called Atka, which is so funny because the wolf, the ambassador wolf, which we will meet later in the show, is also named Atka.
Yes, and our Atka actually came from Washington State. He's a young bird, perhaps somewhere between the ages of 1 and 2, and he has a permanent injury. He's not releasable. In Connecticut, the bald eagle has actually been removed from endangered down to threatened last year. There's about, I believe, 22 nesting pair in Connecticut now. So we are lucky that these birds are making such a great comeback now in Connecticut.
We mentioned that this is the year of the turtle,
Yes.
and that's bad news in the way that I had no idea that turtles were so endangered, and you have brought us one of the examples of that.
Yes, this is Beamer. She is an eastern box turtle on a special concern list in Connecticut. We noticed that she wasn't moving very well. She was dragging her shell. She was prone to tipping over onto her back and not being able to get back up due to lack of balance. So one of the doctors at Bolton Veterinary Hospital, Dr. Zyra in fact, who's a magnificent doctor, very creative, she put this little Lego wheel on Beamer.
So funny.
It works very well. It's attached by her shell to the top part, the carapace, down at the edge where it didn't hurt her, just by a coated wire, and Beamer can move very well with this on.
Oh, wow.
Part of the reason these turtles are on a special concern list is due to loss of habitat. She's not a pond turtle, she's a turtle of the wetlands. It also takes about 15 years for these turtles to mature and to lay eggs. So they don't produce rapidly, and with their habitat disappearing, their numbers have been on the decline in the state, unfortunately.
Let's tell folks how they can get in touch with you, and you have some wonderful programs coming up.
Yes, they can go to our website, www.horizonwings.org, and come see one of our public programs that we have listed here today. Or if they're interested in a program for their scout group or their library or their garden club, they can give us a call, and we'd be more than happy.
Thank you so much, ladies. And as we go to break, take a look. Here's what you need to know if you find an injured or orphaned animal. We'll be right back. Welcome back, and thanks so much for watching our Animal Welfare and Conservation Special edition of Pet Talk. Education is a key component in making sure we can all enjoy and protect the animals we love so much. This is Inca, a beautiful owl, and she is here with her human, Chris Evers, who is director and founder of Animal Embassy in Stamford. Chris is a naturalist specializing in wildlife conservation, who is on a mission to educate everyone about what is happening and what we can do to make things better. And I guess Inca is actually your animal ambassador.
She's one of many. We have over 150 animals, most of which are rescued and adopted from people that bought them as pets and for one reason or another decided it wasn't appropriate. And we're trying to help kids to understand that the best place for wild animals would be in the wild, and really get them to respect life in all different forms.
Absolutely, and I love your mission, and I love the fact that you actually live it, Chris. I mean, you travel extensively, and you really see the world, you see the animal populations. You've been to Africa, Central and South America, to India. What have you seen in your travels? And give us some positive news about some of our species as well.
Sure, which is always so important, especially we work with children. I want to always leave them with a positive feeling and notion that we have the ability to make a difference and make a change.
That's so important.
And I've seen a lot of it in my life. This past year I went to Rwanda and got to go up onto the volcanoes where the mountain gorillas live. And I was very encouraged with that situation. Things are going well to the point that their numbers are increasing and not decreasing.
Right.
In Rwanda, there were 8 people that were helping us to go and see the gorillas. All 8 of those people were employed because we wanted to go and see gorillas.
Right. So
each day, $36,000 is earned from the 9 gorilla groups. It's $500 per permit per person. 5% of that money goes to the local community to help them with municipal projects, as well as employing these people that are helping us to go and see the gorillas. Many of these men that are now the trackers and the porters were the former poachers.
That's so interesting.
So you need to give people options. So through conservation, if you can really develop successful ecotourism, getting people, local people, to be the guides, to be the drivers, to be the trackers, the porters, obviously all the services that people need when they travel to countries to see wildlife. That's extremely valuable. You come back to this country and you look at the wolf back in Yellowstone. When I was a child, there were no wolves in Yellowstone.
Amazing, right.
Now there are. And I was looking at the numbers the other day of dollars equaled from wolf-related tourism. And the number is phenomenal. I'm not going to remember it, but it's a huge number. It's millions of dollars because they're back on the scene. I keep my boat on Long Island Sound, as you know, for the winter time so I can photograph seals. When I was a kid, there were no seals on Long Island Sound. But with acts like the Marine Mammal Protection Act and more conservation-minded people, I would see as many as 100 seals on Long Island Sound this winter between the Norwalk Islands and the Greenwich Islands. That is amazing and a testament to the health of that system.
And you really spread the word at Animal Embassy, and that's one of the reasons I know why you have Inca, and she's really a great teaching tool as well as being beautiful.
She's been fantastic. She's a big part of my program with diversity of life, obviously, the importance of predators and rainforest. This is a rainforest species. Spectacled owls are native to Mexico, Central America, and down into Peru, which is why I gave her the name Inca. We've got a wonderful exhibit at the Stanford Museum and Nature Center where people can come and experience the animals that we've rescued and adopted. Learn with us. We've got a wonderful series of programmings that I've started called Budding Naturalist, Budding Ecologist, and Budding Zoologist. We're seeing about 2,000 kids on outreach. I mentioned to you, I've got 29 Connecticut libraries.
Fantastic. So you'll travel around, and you've saved so many animals and helped to rehabilitate them as well. So we thank you so much for being here, Chris. So folks can get in touch with you how?
The website, animalembassy.com, is a great way for people to find out who we are and what we do, the programs that we offer. If you're on Facebook, we've got a great Facebook site. I use it to post a lot of my local and global photography. So those are the two best ways to get in touch, and hope people will join us for some of our programs.
Thank you, Chris. And as we go to break, take a look at some of the fish, amphibians, and reptiles that are on the endangered list right here in Connecticut. For more information, you can log on to the DEP website and see what you can do to help. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Pet Talk's Animal Welfare and Conservation Special. We're here with one of the most misunderstood animals in North America, the wolf. But the truth is they play a very important role in our environment. So please welcome back Ambassador Wolf Atka from the Wolf Conservation Center in South Salem, New York. He's here with his two human handlers, Sue Massey and Joe Darling. And of course, it's always a thrill to have you guys on. We actually just got back from the Wolf Conservation Center and we met your two new ambassador pups. They are so absolutely adorable, these little wolf pups. And also so important. So let's start, Joe, by talking about that. What is an ambassador wolf?
An ambassador wolf is one that helps us with our mission, which is to tell people a little bit about what wolves are about, what they do in the wilderness, and how we as people can help preserve their future. In the beginning, way back 400 years ago, when we first came to the lower 48 states, people brought with them stories like Little Red Riding Hood and Peter and the Wolf. And they were afraid to have wolves living in their neighborhoods, so they set about to eliminate them from where they lived. And as we settled the country further and further west, we continued to eliminate the wolves. So they went from a population of 250,000 down to only 500 to 1,000. It's now really reached a point where wolves are just, we've started reintroducing them back into the lower 48 states and back into the wild. People have to understand that they are wild animals, but that they can coexist with them.
And I know at the Wolf Conservation Center you're doing some wonderful work. You have the Mexican and the red wolves, and you are breeding them and then hopefully sending them out into the wild, which is what your mission is.
The red and the Mexican wolves both were basically hunted to extinction. The red wolf was down to a population of 17, and the Mexican wolves only had 7.
Wow.
There were only 5 puppies and 2 adults, and we've had to bring that very thin number back up to a viable population, and now we're trying to reintroduce them back into the wild.
Right.
And let them live the way they should be living.
That's right. I mean, and I applaud you because, again, you have been successful in that, and our viewers can actually not only go visit you, but you also had some webcams where they could see, because if you go there, it's hard to see them. I mean, we've been there, and we got to see a little bit, but they really don't want to see people.
That's right.
Atka, of course, as your ambassador, is a little bit friendlier, should we say.
Right, more socialized.
More socialized,
Yeah,
like the pups. And folks should really come and see those because they are just absolutely fantastic. They really are.
They are adorable.
With their doggy nanny hide.
And come quickly because they're growing very, very
They're
fast.
going to get big very fast. Thank you so much, Joe. Thank you, Sue, for being our ATCA Wrangler. And of course, always thanks to our ATCA. And thank you for spreading this very, very important message. We hope all our viewers will go and see you guys and of course see ATCA and the pups up close. So thank you.
And thank you for having us.
Thanks for joining us today. This has been Pet Talk.